Fletcher United stand with 1 by 1 goal to nil. I'm here with some fans from South Africa and the UK. Is that right? Originally from the UK.
Originally from the UK, and we came back over for the games. We were here for the City game and for this game. And
what do you make of it today?
I've got some mixed reviews. You know, I've been a big fan of Mourinho, and I stand up for him a lot. And I think he's come in a bit negative for both games. You know, he's let City boss us, and today we went 1-0 up, and once again he went a bit negative. You know, he brought in Herrera. I thought it was a bit negative. I thought he could have brought in Zlatan to finish the game. I thought Shaw was great. You know, it's good to see him playing well before the January transfer. I don't want to see him go. I thought Valencia was phenomenal once again. I think Martial is struggling to start. I think he's more of an impact player. You know, I think Rashford's a better starter, and he can go off in like the 60th or 70th and bring on Martial when the defence tires a bit.
That's what's been happening. At the beginning of the season, those two were just changing, chopping and changing. Exactly, but everyone was saying, why doesn't Jose play the both of them? He did it for a while, then it didn't work, now he's gone back. How does he tackle them two? It's back to that whole Rashford-Martial situation. What's the best way forward with that?
I think both of them are centre forwards, and he's playing them wide. I think they're doing well under the circumstances. Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to the formation. I mean, again, I would have liked to have seen Zlatan. I think he holds the ball up a bit better and he's got a bit more finesse. But I mean, you know, nice to see Lukaku scoring. I mean, he's got a job to do and he's doing it. I mean, hopefully he can. I think he's definitely got the support of Mourinho, so hopefully he can, you know, turn into a Drogba for us. See what happens.
What do you think of that?
I think it's all fine. I just think we've gone a bit negative. I think we've sort of surrendered. I think we've surrendered the fact that City have won the league, which is a bit disappointing for home fans. You know, we travel far and wide. We pay big money for these tickets, and we're coming and we're watching slightly negative football from a very attacking club. You know,
you say that attacking club, not an attacking manager. Should we be surprised that Mourinho is doing it? Should we expect him to change? Because, you know, like you're saying, we are Manchester United. That's not in our DNA. Or is it a case of, we know what Jose is, we know how he is, we know he's not going to change, and we just got to put up with it?
I don't know. Listen, today we went 1-0 up, and I just thought we should have killed the game off. You know, I just felt like that. You know, as soon as Herrera came on, James said to me, he said, "It's very negative what we're doing." You know, it's.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, right? Just to give you a different side. I know you're saying it's boring, and fair enough. We got more points than last year. Yeah. Scored more goals than last year. Listen, conceded less. Is that?
Missing Pogba. You know, if you're playing Pogba, then you know that it's a different story. I mean, we went out and we were scoring 3-4 goals a game, but you can't be a one-man team. So I mean,
are we a one-man team?
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, you took off a number 10 and you brought on Herrera. I mean, it's. I would have liked to see Zlatan come on in those circumstances and, like, you know, continue to attack, because, you know, at the end we were, you know, it was touch and go whether we might concede. So you don't want to take those type of risks, and I've seen it under Van Gaal, I've seen it under Mourinho. You know, you start defending, you bring on Fellaini, you start hoofing the ball up, and you concede a goal, and it's too risky. You know,
this is Old Trafford. We should be on the front foot, shouldn't we?
We should be winning that game 3-4-0. City won tonight 4-0 away at Swansea. It's not an easy fixture to go to Swansea and win. You know, they're winning 4-0. We're at home in front of these home fans, and people are leaving in the 85th minute, like walking out, like, what was that? You know.
Do you think a lot of it's down to the fact that City are actually this good this season? Imagine, let's you know, kind of throw some thoughts out there. If City weren't as good as they are this season, would we be as upset as we are? Is it because the neighbours across the road are that good, and we're thinking we're so far behind?
Listen, I'm not saying I'm upset. I'm just saying that a game like this, we've got to be more positive. We've got to be going out and trying to win this game 2-3, 4-0. You know, when we go 1-0 up, we've got to press. We can't go negative. And the other thing is, City haven't bought their team. You know, this is they've got some players like Sterling that were sort of slightly above average, that Pep's turned into brilliant players. So we can't say, oh well, he spent well. He spent well, and he's turned these players into really good players. You know, that's the worrying thing.
We need to continue to give City too much credit, though, because I mean they beat us and they've won tonight, but you know they can easily falter, and you know the league's not.
They're not invincible, are they?
They're not invincible. The league's not over. They're just on a good run. You know, we were on a good run. We lost Pogba. You know, we just booked our tickets to fly across the world, and we lost Pogba, and I thought, shit, you know, that's a bit upsetting. But I mean, he's going to be back in a couple of weeks, and then hopefully we can be back to winning ways. I mean, we won won tonight. So,
surely that's got to be the main thing. It's 3 points. You're not always going to get the performance with 3 points.
Liverpool drop points, Arsenal drop points. We've got a foot in the right direction, but we could have walked out of here. It could have been 1-0, 1-1.
Which maybe it would have been last year.
That's the worrying thing. But we got the 3 points, and we're happy about that, I guess.
Thank you very much for talking to us, guys. Have safe flights back. Take care. Doing, guys. We won by 1-0 today against Bournemouth. In a game where I think there was a lot of Derby Day blues, if you ask me. Old Trafford was flat. There was a lot of spare seats. It was quiet. And it took us a while to get into the game. I thought for the first 15 minutes, Bournemouth were the better side. They tested De Gea. They got in down the flanks. They passed the ball well. And it took us a while to get into the game. But once we did start playing, Martial brought himself into the game well. Lingard brought himself in. Mata was buzzing around the place. The performance overall wasn't great. But like I said, it's 3 points. We needed the 3 points today. We needed to shake off Sunday, and I think it was quite difficult to do that. It was flat the whole time. It was really quiet, and like I said, there was a lot of empty seats in there today, and it was maybe up to the players to put in a great performance at a 3 or a 4-0, something emphatic, but we didn't get it today, and at times we were kind of holding on, and Jose made a few changes that I thought were quite negative. He took off Lingard and put on Herrera, and at that point, he should really be looking to bring on Zlatan, in my opinion. We got the first goal, and it was a cagey affair. We needed to see out the game by not defending. We needed to see out the game by searching for a second. And I think, a lot of fans were a bit aggrieved by that today. But for me, I do think there's a lot of Derby Day blues around. I mean, it was such a low result. It was such a kick in the teeth to take, and the manner of that defeat, and the manner we conceded those goals on Sunday. Is what really hurt the most. So it might not have been the best reaction, but 3 points is always good medicine after a loss, and we got that today. There were times where it was questionable. David De Gea was quite busy today. I didn't think he'd end up being that busy, but Lukaku got his goal, and it was pretty good. It was a very, very good header, and for me, he didn't celebrate, and that was like, did he need to not celebrate? I think there's a bit of frustration there with him. The fans were, I'm not going to say on his back today, but I think with him, if he does go on a run and he loses the ball, because he's been in bad form, it's like an extra grunt going his way, which is a little bit unfair. There's a lot of other players who have lost the ball today or tried to do something that hasn't quite come off. But because Lukaku's been in the spotlight for underperforming recently, he gets that little bit extra stick when it's not going quite right. So, and it was interesting. As soon as he scored, everyone was happy. People around me were singing his name, and that's all it takes. And I think if he can get that consistency and kick on like how we did at the beginning of the season, we can start to see the real Lukaku, because yes, he has been poor in patches, and there are other patches where he hasn't been fed, he hasn't had the supply, but today he tried to impose himself in the game. He tried to link up well, and he got his goal, which was the winner, so you can't fault him. Really good to see Luke Shaw back today. I've got to talk about him. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He passed the ball well. He passed forward where we could. He ran forward where he could. He won his tackles, and it looks like it's the second game for him in a row, like the CSK game, where he's managed to put in a very, very solid performance. Is this the time? A sign that he's going to start pushing Ashley Young for that left back spot? Is it a sign that he's going to make a surge for the left back spot and try and get himself to that World Cup? Who knows? Only Jose knows. Only Luke Shaw knows in his mentality. But in his performance today, you've got to say that he really looked the part today, man, and it was really refreshing to see that. Scott McTominay got a rare outing today. I thought he was pretty good. With what you're going to get with McTominay so far. We can see the sort of characteristic that he has. He kind of keeps it simple. He'll try and break up play, and he'll try to give it to players. He'll try and get us playing. He's not exceptional in any specific area. I think he's just tried to be that all-round midfielder. So good minutes, valuable minutes for him. He played well today. Martial, he was indifferent. He tried to impose himself in the game, tried to get going. He was part of some good moments, but there was some times where he just didn't quite get his man, couldn't get that end product. But he was trying. He was good. I liked Mata today. We got the assist, and it was a good cross for Lukaku to nod it in. And Mata's always going to be that guy. He's such a clever footballer. Again, I think it's about consistency. If we can get our best players performing to their best level more consistently. I can see our form starting starting to change, or even if it's not our form, the way we're playing anyway, the manner of our performances will start to change. And I think that's what we need to do. A lot of fans there today saying that they just find Jose negative. One fan said that Jose doesn't seem happy, and I don't know whether Jose's feeling a little bit flat after the Derby Day defeat, because it was a big kick in the teeth. But you know, our rivals have dropped points today, so that's helped. But not the rivals that we really wanted to drop points, which is City. They've won 4 goals to 0 today, so on they go. I don't think we expected anything different from them. So I still stand by what I say in terms of I think the title's done. But we have to kick on, and you know, the only medicine we was going to have today to get to get Sunday out of our system was to come here and get 3 points today. Yes, the performance didn't match it, and at times we were under the cosh and looked like we may concede, but we didn't. And on the flip side of it, you know, those are the games that we may have drawn last year, or even lost, you know, but we didn't. With all the negativity that's going around the club at the minute, it's important to remember we have made slight improvements. You know, we've got more points than we did at this time last season. We've scored more goals, we conceded less. It's just the way we've approached those big games, and in them big crunch games, when we've fallen short, I think it's the come down of that's really not helped us this season. But it's 3 points in the bag. We go to West Brom on the weekend, where we try and just keep gathering momentum and see how high we can finish in the league. We've drawn Sevilla in the Champions League. That's going to be a tricky tie, but I think we'll get through that. So there's still things to play for. You know, I said it last season that when things don't go well for you, you need to find a way to find other objectives and move on to those. If the league's gone, we're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the Carling Cup, we're still in the Champions League. We've got to fight on all fronts. And that's the way it's got to be. We're Man United, and if we're out of one competition when we're in the rest, then we focus on them. It's as simple as that. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much.